need to preface this a little bit. I don't like talking about this motherfucker.
Okay.
But we're going to. He's been in the news recently, as we all know. And I'm talking about Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
There's a video by somebody called Digging in the Greats, I think, or Digging the Greats. And he's somebody who breaks down records really thoroughly and stuff like that. But he dropped a video about how and why it's hard to separate the art from the artist when it's in relation to music. And I want to kind of reference that and talk about that in reference to some of the people that we are challenged with doing so.
Why music, more than other mediums, is so hard to separate from the artist. It's because music is a time machine. There are some songs that, when you hear them, instantly transport you back to the moment you heard it. Everybody has their own version of this with different songs and experiences. And here's the thing. They aren't just memories. You can describe these things in vivid detail, and that's one thing. But when you hear the music you were listening to at the time, the feeling comes back. It's a musical feeling time machine. This is why it's so hard to separate the art from the artist, especially the older you get. It's not as easy as just saying, I'm not going to listen to their music anymore, because in some cases, the music is so tied up with your memories, you're effectively saying, I'm not going to go visit that specific memory in my emotional time machine anymore.
Thoughts?
All right. I think that might be true with certain people, but I don't find that to really be an issue with Kanye, because I don't believe that Kanye is the same person today that he was when he was making the music that I really enjoyed from him.
I see. So you feel like you can separate the two because he's a different person now than he was, than he is. Okay.
Yeah, he's a completely different person, man. Like, I truthfully believe he's on the spectrum of autism, man, and I didn't recognize it until I watched that Genius interview, and I watched how his mama handled him from all of those. Even the way she talked to him like a mother with a child with autism would talk to their child, man. So she wore kid gloves with him.
And did he come out recently and say that?
He did.
Was that the Genius?
I think that was one of the tweets that he just put out recently.
He said that I'm not bipolar, I have autism, I misdiagnosed or something.
It's some people that might
probably got both.
I think he definitely has both.
He definitely has both.
I agree with you though, as far as being two separate people, because me, I'm always the one on the show that has always championed Kanye West. I still rock with Kanye West based off of the Kanye West that I first met. Mm-hmm. Not met, but you know what I'm saying? I was introduced to musically. So from College Dropout to probably even Life of Pablo. I can go as far as Life as Pablo. Nope. He was getting a little weird. Musically, he wasn't as good as the Kanye before. But I'm saying that's kind of where he really went for real left field after Life of Pablo came out. And I've said it before, after the death of his mom, he was still cool. He was tracking, but he wasn't mourning what had happened. He was working through it, but he completely morphed into somebody else. So the Kanye that I really listen to, it ain't the same guy. I believe people can have that argument with R. Kelly.
Well, I think the issue with both of these dudes is they surrounded themselves with people that would not tell them no, or they were wrong about anything. Whenever you surround yourself with yes men and somebody that's just continuously telling you how great you are and never checking you when you going out of line and you out of pocket, you run into Kanye West, who he is now, man. Yeah. Because nobody can tell him anything. He'll tell you that. Nobody can tell me nothing because I'm great. I'm God.
You might get fired if you tell him what you really
exactly. So, like, man, I just, man, God bless dude, man. God bless him.
So are we just talking specifically about Kanye West with this conversation? Are we talking about artists?
So. I don't think necessarily we have to. I just think that Kanye is the one person right now who we are seeing become even more of a shitty person than he was before consecutively. Like, to me, like I'll compare him to myself for whatever reason. I go through life and every single day I try to be a better person in everything that I do. And I feel like when I look at Kanye West, everything that he's done, maybe I'm a bad example of this, but like, it's just a slope downward. consecutively, like constantly, especially from the time his mother passed away. I mean, you could say it was sloping up until My Dark Twisted Fantasy, but from there, everything that he's done in his entire life has sloped downward as far as the character of who the person is. I'm not even really talking about the music per se. I'm really just talking about him as a human being. And I can't really relate to somebody who doesn't want to be a reasonable human being.
I can dig that.
And I don't fully grasp it. And so his latest stunt where he's got the Super Bowl commercial for whatever, who cares? But he's on Twitter and he's doing all the things that he's doing, and he's tweeting out, I like Hitler, I'm actually a Nazi, all this other stuff. But he's doing it because he knows that it's going to get attention to promote something. And that to me is the most evil, detestable bullshit ever. Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
So you don't believe that he really feels that way?
No, he might feel that way, but the thing about Kanye is he's quiet until he gets money. So notice he wasn't really saying all of this until he's officially been named a billionaire again.
Or he has something to sell.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
That's what you don't hear from him until he got something to sell.
He feels like, I think a lot of Kanye West's issue is he feels like he can't be canceled because he's proved that he can't be canceled by his last antics that he went through with the anti-Semitic rants and things of that nature. And now it's like he's just doubling down on it based off of freedom of speech. And since Elon lets you do whatever you want on Twitter, I still call it Twitter, just like I still call it the Twitter. Gulf of Mexico.
No, for sure.
He feels like he needs to pretty much let it be known that I am me and nobody can tell me anything. Just like he showed up at the awards with his wife dressed in nothing.
Man, that's just.
But
terrible.
He did that. He did that because he thought we'd be impressed.
That's what I mean.
Because he didn't think in his mind is like, man, look at this. I got this beautiful woman I'm parading around, or at least
tight.
But that's what his
Kim Jr.
Yeah, and it's like he thinks that we'll be so impressed with that we'll listen to anything that he has to say. Like he's still, it's crazy for somebody who has been as lauded as he is as far as the awards, the money, the records sold. He still wants it's just still this weird want for acceptance. And for, like things he says sometimes, it's like, I've slept at Elon Musk's house. Like he wants us to know that because he thinks we'll be impressed. Mm-hmm. Like not because it's impressive, but because he thinks also he has this issue with the proximity to whiteness that he still has to work out. And I think that's a real problem that he has.
And that is weird being who his parents were.
Yeah. I mean, but I have this crazy theory about, cats that are, because me and Kanye are roughly the same age, and at one point, I'll keep this as brief as possible. If you were a black child growing up before the Cosby Show came on, the only time you saw black children thriving and had smiles on their faces
was the Cosby Show.
No, this is before the Cosby Show. Okay. It was Different Strokes, Facts of Life, and For a Quick Moment, Webster. All those shows had the same thing in common. The children
by white men.
They all
white people.
All these people, it was their proximity to whiteness that gave them joy. Mm-hmm. And for some people, I do think that was detrimental to their, to how they viewed themselves and how they view their own blackness. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm really taking it somewhere that a lot of people will be like, that's a bit much. But hey, knowing what a tool television is and how it makes people think about themselves and how sometimes only you can see, empathize and have joy through those characters and their joy, especially if you're a kid that doesn't have, if you saw Arnold and Willis growing up at a certain point and they live in a penthouse, and eventually going from calling him Mr. Drummond and calling this white man daddy, there are some brothers who have been mentally impacted by that sort of thing.
I think with Kanye,
they're walking through it in a way that a lot of us have not really tried to actually figure out, so
I think there's some truth to that, but I think Kanye West's situation is he actually had parents that put him in situations to where he was able to experience things that the normal child weren't able to experience. I mean, he lived in China for a while. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? His mother was a teacher. He never rapped about poverty and things of that nature.
Right.
He rapped about who he was and things he was going through. He pretty much was one of the first rappers to ever take that angle on rap.
He rapped from a middle class kid,
exactly,
growing up. You know, his parents actually, you know, they weren't. These dudes were not. He was not about street. They weren't street people.
Exactly. So you know? I think with specifically with Kanye is once he got on and then lost his mother, he lost himself, whether he wants to admit it or not. He lost his way as far as what he actually got in the game to do, and became somebody that. I don't know, man. I don't know who this dude is anymore, honestly.
I think he's always been this person.
He's always been this person.
This wildly insecure person. I think this is just a wildly insecure person who happened to be very successful. And the way he manifests his insecurity, whether it comes out through things he says and how he treats women, the things
he said he's put his hands on women. And like this is what I was trying to tell you earlier. So he's so far gone right now. During this rant, he was saying that Drake said that Kendrick put his hands on a woman, but there's no visual evidence like there is for Puff. And then he was like, he doubled down saying, I've put my hands on a woman before, essentially. We need to help Puffy out. This is his angle. So his mental,
he thinks he's God.
His mental clarity is gone, man. It's like you're not even listening to a real person talk here.
Look, we've said this a bazillion times on the show. He is a narcissist.
Absolutely.
By the definition, I think he's always been one. He's highly, highly, highly insecure, which is one of the reasons why, to your point, Byron, he never has the right people around him. Mm-hmm. Because if you say something to him, he's probably going to get you out of there. Yeah. It's why we watched that. Remember back in the day, it kind of felt like Rhyme Fest was kind of in his ear a little bit. But I remember one of those documentaries the other time. He was like sitting on the floor, like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. And we were like, nah, that's whack. That's garbage. Like, what? I feel like to be around him, you kind of have to be. Again, this is from the outside looking in, but his life is very public. But he's an extreme narcissist. I don't know, to your point, if he believes the stuff that he says. I think that he thinks that he's bigger than all of it. And I don't think that
goes back to him thinking that he can't be canceled.
Yeah, I think he thinks that he's God.
But this just going back to what this guy was saying. Like, I still listen to Kanye's up through like Dark Twisted Fantasy. That's pretty much where it ends for me, because then he's almost this parody of himself after that, because he thinks because we listen to spaceships and crack music that he can get on and start talking to us about it. Went from him just giving us an opinion and something we could relate to him fussing at us. You know, when I hear him talking about, the thing that bothered me the most when he got off into the black skinhead area and he's talking about new slaves, I was like, we're not the new slaves. You are the one that is obsessed with European clothes, European cars, and European women. Like, don't talk to me about being a new slave when, honestly, the gaze of everything that you see is excellent has to go through the prism of whiteness. And that's pretty much everything that he does now. And, you know, but whenever he gets in trouble, it's like, my black children this, my black children that.
He goes there right away. It's right away. That's what he'll go on a rant and then he'll defend himself with exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Every single time.
You know, so it's like those, especially the first 3 albums, because I felt like, okay, this is not only where the beats fire, what he was rapping about was more relatable to me personally, you know, as someone who, you know, grew up middle class and you know, I did not have those street experiences that I love listening to, but I couldn't relate to specifically. But then it got to be like, it was Kanye, the person rapping, and then it was Kanye, the celebrity rapping.
Yeah, because at this point, his influence has become poisonous, because the things that he's talking about, even what he was trying to sell, and they ended up taking Shopify took his site down, so he can't sell anything on the site. But he had a whole Super Bowl commercial trying to sell an item that was anti-Semitic. I don't know. I really don't understand where all this is coming from. It's mad weird.
Proximity to Elon Musk.
It's mad weird, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's troublesome and it pisses me off because I really like Kanye. But
because
you can't like this version of this person.
No. What's whiter than white supremacy, and that's what he wants to be close to. What's it than the T-shirt with a swastika on?
You know, Byron, you brought up a good point though. Like, do we think that he's doing this on purpose in that aspect? And it kind of makes me wonder too sometimes, because of how fast it's kind of like Candace Owens knows better, but she's who she is, right? Yeah. It's like she's playing a role.
Yeah.
Kanye seems to do the same thing to the point to where, like, he'll say all this crazy shit, which I feel like it's just because he knows that it's going to put his name in the algorithm. And then whenever he gets any type of pushback, he'll drop stuff that is actually valid.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, but it's like he's trying to like, you know, soften everything that's happened. But because of all this other here, and it's like, so he knows better, but which makes it worse. To me, it makes it worse if he does know better, which I think, and then again, it goes, and you know, maybe it's the mental health thing. I don't know, you know.
Man, you know, the weird part for me was, you know, the first time he wild out or whatever, and then he drops this gospel album, and then he's turned this whole new leaf. He's
not cussing anymore.
Yeah. And then
he's a whole different Kanye now.
And he gives you that, well, the Nazi stance again, you know, and then, no, because the first thing was the slavery shit.
Harriet Tubman talk.
Yeah. And then, you know, he gives you the gospel album, and then comes a Nazi, and, you know, beautiful big titty women just don't fall out the sky, you know.
You know?
You know? Which, look, man. All right, I get him.
Hey, what did Jadakiss say? He liked the first 4 Kanyes that he met.
Yeah. Like, dude, man, I ain't gonna lie. Now, his wife, she's
an attractive woman.
I mean,
Sensori, the naked chick.
Yeah, I've seen everything.
I mean,
I've seen her.
Yeah,
I saw what
she got a nice body. But,
said, hey,
I mean,
those things is thangin'.
Never heard her talk, but
well, yeah, she's probably not allowed to talk.
She's a mute.
Kanye he don't like his women to
she won a Grammy.
She ain't all that to me though. If I want to be 100% honest,
she
with
like
you,
him.
She's straight.
Yeah, she's straight.
She just don't wear no clothes.
Yeah,
or the clothes that you wear, you can see everything she got.
And that's the sad part. That's the sad part about it for me, man. Like, man, how can you say you respect this woman enough to call her your wife, but you parade her around like a toy?
Yeah,
and that is just
that's not very Christ-like. If you
oh man, I just
like
couldn't
a blow up doll.
Yeah, I couldn't do that with nobody that I call my wife, man. You know what I mean?
Like, even the clothes that you put on, I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Be revealing to the essence of everybody gonna be.
Yeah,
and who knows? Maybe it's her choice. Maybe she wants
it
to.
Might be.
No, he said he had dominion over I got dominion over my wife.
Maybe that's in the clause.
Amen.
Look, this is the thing, and we spoke about this many moons ago. You know, when he decided he was going to be godly as opposed to being worldly.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I hope if this is really part of his journey, then I admire him for that. But if this is just pink polos and bleached assholes, things that you were into at one point, then I can't respect it. And that's what I feel like. I think he was using God's word as a hustle, and maybe he felt like God, if he turned his life to God and did the Jesus is King album, then God would just give him anything he wanted. And when he realized that, you know, God's word is not transactional that just doesn't work like that. He thought you know, God and Santa Claus will, you know, write him a list and he'll just get you what you want. That's not how it works. And so now he's turned his back. Now he's turned his back on Christianity. He's just as out there and wild because it's like, well, I didn't get what I wanted out of Christianity, so I moved on. Just like I moved on from the fashion choices I made. You know, I don't wear what I used to wear, and I don't. You know, so I like I said, him using God's word as a hustle is why I just don't even give his music a chance anymore, because that's just disrespectful and deplorable to me.
It's weird just because, like, yeah, man, I don't know. That's just one word to describe Kanye. Just weird, man.
Yeah,
Dude is weird.
Something else. To kind of circle back to what he's talking about as far as artist wise, though, and being able to separate the artist from who they are and what they did.
Right.
I want to kind of touch on R. Kelly because I brought his name up.
Pause.
All right. Yeah. I think a lot of the thing with R. Kelly is, especially people our age, this is music that we were in junior high and high school and college, and so it expanded a lot of years.
So you were the prey.
That's exactly what he said.
No, I wasn't the prey. I wasn't the prey, but I did know girls in high school that said that they knew who R. Kelly was back then, and I didn't believe them.
Right.
But when all this shit started coming out, I mean, mind you, R. Kelly lived right next door to us.
Mm-hmm.
So once it came out, I'm like, damn, them chicks wasn't lying. You know what I'm saying? But it's weird because I feel like more women still rock with R. Kelly than men.
They got their own memories tied to him.
Yeah, that kind of goes to his point. To a degree.
Look, I still like, your body's calling me. Like I wasn't a huge R. Kelly fan, but I loved that record. You know, I used to go on my little slow jam tapes, and then like, you know, when I was messed up behind the first woman I call myself being in love with, you know, I Can't Sleep. You know, that was a soundtrack to that.
Yeah.
You know,
he had a song on Space Jam, I Believe I Can Fly.
come on, man. Like, I know people who, you know, they can't let go of I Wish because of, you know, somebody that they lost around that time.
Yeah.
So again, it goes to his point about, you know, how art is, because this isn't like something like if it comes out tomorrow that, like, I don't know, Brad Pitt or somebody else is this deplorable person, like, it's pretty easy to like not watch a movie.
Yeah, because it's done that with actors. Who was it? Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was just out of here. He went from being like the top dog.
Freaking Louis C.K. got caught with off or something.
That was messed up though.
With permission.
Because I
he asked. Yeah.
I actually liked Louis C.K. I was upset that happened.
But
then,
he asked though.
Aziz Ansari.
Aziz Ansari.
That was messed up too.
Yeah, but that was during the time where
Anybody
it was
who
for
did
real
something
cancel
wrong.
culture. If you did something to anybody and it came out, it was going to ruin your career.
But that's
and
the
these
messed
are
up thing.
these are people who weren't as successful as a Kanye West and couldn't bounce back from a situation like that.
They weren't
Kanye
really
is
canceled though.
he's using his stardom as a power. He's using that as a superpower.
Yeah.
Letting you know that it doesn't matter what you say or what I say or what I do. They can stop me from selling this stuff, but I'm going to be just fine because I'll just drop another album or I'll start doing some crazy shit again and they'll buy right back into it.
But that's all Louis C.K. and Aziz Ansari had to do was keep putting out product. They're
part of the Hollywood machine though. Man. Hollywood had to get behind that.
Yes and no. We got YouTube, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, Louis got a podcast now.
Yeah, and Aziz, you know, got back out there with a, because I thought that one was really messed up, but I had some real conversations
with women. He had to give his show over with to Lena Waithe.
Yeah.
It didn't go right.
Yeah, I mean, but they still, even after that, he did have a Netflix special and he addressed it.
Yeah.
But it was just like, damn, man.
He was on a run too.
He was like Master of None. Like, I love that show.
Come on, man.
Man too. I made a whole album based on it.
And it was just like, but you know, when I can't act like, you know, because people can say, oh, I'm not messing with R. Kelly, and I can say that, but you know what? Sometimes on my phone, like old clips of the Cosby Show, you know, will come up.
I'll look at the Cosby
and
Show
I watch,
every day.
because I think about watching that show at 7 p.m. Central Time with my mom and my sister on Thursday night. And how the level of joy that brought us.
It just goes to his point, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It absolutely goes to his point.
You know, I don't know, but at the same time, maybe it's just because I'm a hard ass. You know, like I feel like for the Kanye position here, like what he's doing is so foul because he understands what he's doing and he's using the system and the algorithm to give him more hits because he knows that he's so polarizing that people are going to talk about him.
Yeah.
I really would like to challenge media to not.
Even if he wasn't if media didn't pick it up, he is standing next to somebody who can amplify whatever it is that he's putting out there. He's attached himself to Elon.
Oh, you're talking about Elon.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because that's ultimately who is putting his message out. And they amplifying.
Well, they're just not blocking him.
Yeah, or they, you know what I mean? He's able to put it in your, like, because I get tweets from Elon Musk. I don't follow that dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he owns Twitter, though.
Exactly.
And you can't block him.
But that's what
I'm not on
saying.
Twitter anymore, so.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Ye has that same, Ye standing next to him because of that reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I feel a certain level of responsibility being in media.
Oh, big shot.
Here we are.
Yeah.
No, but in general, like, we've been doing this for 15 years now. You know what I mean? Ooh. So it's kind of what it is. Like, I almost want to challenge people to not bite on his antics.
That's real. We don't have to talk. We don't have to talk about him.
No, I think this type of conversation is okay to talk about, but I don't want to talk about what he's promoting. I don't want to talk about all the Kanye is. Cue the Denny Green clip. Like he is who we thought he was.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
But they say there's no such thing as bad publicity.
That's what they say, and I think that's what he buys into. But we just got done talking about Kendrick Lamar. He's the antithesis of everything Kendrick represents.
I kind of feel like he's a little envious of Kendrick Lamar.
I think he's very much envious of Kendrick Lamar.
That's why he dropped that diss record and then it didn't do shit. And then
and now all of a sudden he loves Drake again.
I'm just saying, he gets too much of our energy. And I can say this from doing this show for over 8 years, in a row. Like, he gets too much of our energy for not contributing anything positive to anything that we're doing. And honestly, I wish he would go away.
Did you listen to Bully?
No, I'm not going to listen to that shit.
I'm
not listening to that shit.
Did you listen to Vultures?
No, none of that shit.
Yeah.
I'm a Kanye fan, and I haven't. Bullies don't come out until like June or July.
He has to make a formal apology for all the shit for me to want to at that point. That's where I'm staying. I don't separate the art from the artist. I'm that person.
I still listen. But
I don't.
I
I'm
listen
not
just
judging, but I don't.
I listen just because I feel like it's, and this is sad, but I feel like it's my duty to do so. You know what I mean? Just because.
And I feel like it's my duty to
not do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's just my duty to do it, just to give it at least a once over to know if I like it or not. Yeah. You know what I mean? And for at least the last 4 or 5 projects from this dude, I have not liked them at all.
I mean, these last 4 were trash, at least. But
it's such a huge fall.
At least that's what people tell me, because I haven't actually listened to them.
And that again goes to his star power.
No, it does.
He dropped 4 duds when it comes to a scale of hip hop greatness and what he came from.
He's bigger, and
he's still
got people that are gonna listen to it.
Still going to have numbers.
Hell, he had an album that went. That song, that Carnival song.
Then that was
Grammy nominated.
Yeah,
that was the last song that I remember hearing from him.
And ultimately, man, like that, the reason that Carnival album got a pass from me, because I was at one point in time a huge Ty Dolla $ign fan.
Let me ask you this question though, because you just said you can give his old records a pass because he was a different person.
Yeah, not a pass, but I'm not throwing them away.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know who he is now.
Mm-hmm. So why do I still listen to his new stuff?
Yeah.
You didn't know that then.
Yeah, I mean, what if he starts dropping Nazi raps and stuff? Like, is that something?
Oh, hell no, I'm done. Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's who he is, right? So that would just be my argument. Because at this point, we know who he is at this point, right? So
that's real. Even when he was doing the whole, the slavery was, it helps. Yeah, it helps me form an opinion of who he really is now. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I listen to it, because it gives me a glimpse on where he is in his life. So when I hear that beautiful, when I listen to that Vultures album, I'm like, this nigga's a pervert. He's a real pervert.
He's a pervert on Life of Pablo.
Yeah, for me to hear some of this stuff, I'm like, dog, man, this dude is gone.
This is literally just star power then.
That's exactly
he's rapping about being a
is.
celebrity, the things you can do and the ways you can move around women. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Get out of here, dog. Nobody want to hear this shit.
He's parading.
I mean, there are people
around.
Yeah,
we just talked about that line last time I was here. We was talking about the bleach asshole line. Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's
he ruined that song.
Yeah.
He thinks it's the greatest song ever. He's like, yeah, man. I had to get Metro name dropping ass motherfucker.
And this is the sad thing. You know what I mean? Cudi set that song up, man. It was he handed it on a platter to him.
That song gives you chills when it first comes on.
Yeah. And then this nigga start rapping to you
about bleached assholes.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think we can wrap it up.
Okay.
Wrap up the bleach assholes.